All the cellists that I showed it to were completely shocked about the sound. All of them said it was the best cello they'd ever played.
Welcome back to Strange Inheritance Unpacked. You just saw the story of the two daughters and their father's most prized possession, a 300-year-old Stradivarius cello. He bought the instrument for $100 grand, and then they sold it for millions. Robbie, let me start with you. I mean, there is so much emotion.
But I actually thought this woman came off as so healthy, and think how clever she was to put her name in the book so she could have some time with her dad. I mean, that was very resourceful, and she doesn't seem to feel bitter. She really was together when she had that childhood memory, and she was sharing it. Almost it was like breathing. That was just her reality and the reality that went on in their home.
About, did you ever play the instrument? And she says no, you know, that she wasn't good enough to play it. And they say, by whose standard? And then she says, well, I didn't want to anyway. And to me, there was, I mean, we're all projecting our own issues into this, but that was just, I was never good enough to play it. I mean, my heart broke for her.
But it does sound like it was an extension of his voice. And an extension of just everything that he was all about. And for some reason, his daughter didn't have a need to be a part of that. But it was a different time. You have to remember that fathers, he did appear to be a disengaged guy, but it was a different time, and fathers were not involved in the same kind of way. And it was almost expected that fathers would go to work. They may not be around as often. It was just a different expectation. Well, she clearly had respect for him, but it could also indicate a longing that she wanted to be close to him. She wanted to be desired by him.
I think she wanted to be the cello.
Absolutely.
I want to be that cello, worth millions.
It's amazing. Didn't something similar happen to Yo-Yo Ma? He left his instrument in a taxi. I read that. It was the same thing. I mean,
there have been so many musicians who've actually done that.
You know what? When you're an artist, you're kind of, you can be a little absent-minded. So even though you're focused in your art, it doesn't mean that you remember every single detail.
Let me ask the therapist. I mean, this is like a mind trick to me. Because it says Stradivarius, that's why everybody thinks it's so great. Is it a mind trick?
Well, I wonder if it's branding, but I also wonder if it's like...
It's brainwashing. It's crazy.
It's branding and brainwashing.
But I also wonder, too, like an important piece of art, it's the story behind the art, and I wonder if it's similar with these instruments, like who owned it, who played it.
It was only me and Nick and my sister who knew that he wasn't holding the Strad, and he hadn't played the Strad. And we felt terrible. We didn't want to say at that point, oh, that's not the Strad. And we thought that nobody else would care or know. But it really meant something to see that he hadn't recognized his own beloved Stradivarius at that moment.
Oh!
See, it's just an instrument.
It wasn't the instrument.
Interesting.
Wow. I mean, please analyze that one for us.
Well, it sounds like he was talking about his emotional attachment to the cello. It just wasn't what he was holding for some reason. So he was talking about something that was very true for him, but it wasn't attached or connected to the actual physical object, which is interesting, given that it sold for so much.
So if it were you and you were put up to this task, would you take less money to put the instrument in the hands of someone who's going to play it and honor his wishes? Or would you get the most money that you could? I mean, in the end, he didn't know it wasn't his cello anymore. What do you think? What would you do?
You know, I would hope that I would handle it the way these daughters did, because they did the right thing. Having said that, if a big enough number was sent my way, I don't know.
I'm exhausted. What an episode. That was fantastic. Thank you. That is all we have time for. We're going to see you next time with more Strange Inheritance Unpacked.